Okay. Time is 6:07 on January 15th. Call this meeting to order, the Arts and Cultural Board. Okay, please have roll call.
Melissa Spence,
Present.
Annabelle Gomez,
Present.
Rose Hart,
Present.
Fabiana Melendez Ruiz,
Present.
Brooke Elephant,
Yeah, great. Well, present.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Andrea McCray, who's our new member, is not going to be here tonight, but she did send us an email to the class.
So we have a quorum. And we can move on to our item 2, approval of the minutes. So we have the minutes from the November 20th meeting to consider approval. Is that something presenting?
Yeah, actually, I'm not, Chris Scotto, Deputy Parks Deputy Director. David is unable to attend today. However, we do have the minutes available. Do we have a copy of these?
Should be.
Yeah, so we'll get these around, but ultimately, this isn't everyone's packet. But really, it's just a matter of first and second of the approval minutes.
I motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second. You actually stared me down. Say it.
Minutes approved.
I was like, okay, well, it's there.
You can't feel one.
Now is our citizen comment period. We welcome comments from citizens. Those wishing to speak are encouraged to sign in before the meeting begins. Speakers may be provided with an opportunity to speak during this time period on any agenda item or any other matter concerning Arts and Cultural Board business, and they must observe the 3-minute time limit. We have
Hello again, citizen and library director.
I wanted to just share with you tonight some information about our Tiny Art Showcase. It is for school-age children, but I know you all probably know school-age children. We had an event this afternoon. We have one more. We are supplying the canvases. They need to pop by the library to get them. But on the events, we actually supply some of the paint and brushes and all of that as well. They will be displayed throughout the month of February. This has become an annual event, and I've heard that the art is amazing and beautiful and wonderful and so creative and energetic and energizing. And so if you know some school age kids, you want to help us promote, we would appreciate that. Just get the word out. We are collecting the canvases as supplies last till the end of the month, and then they will be on display in the library. So stop by and see them if you have a chance. I think you will find it a lovely experience. And they're literally the tiny art. They're little tiny canvases. And so I encourage you also to just check out the library's Facebook website, our program. We're trying new things as well, but a lot of our items or a lot of our programs are art-based, cultural-based as well. So thank you for your 2 minutes.
Quick question. Okay, school age, what age is that? Was
So
that
it's
K
like
to
a
12?
5 to 17. Yeah, 5 to 17.
Okay, so it's K to 12. I wasn't sure if that was like K to 5.
And I know children, but yeah,
Okay.
I'd love to do an adult one of these someday, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
I like those tiny, art by tiny humans.
Yes. Well, you'll love this too. Side note, I know you'd mentioned the 1,000 books before kindergarten. We are also going to have a Little's prom for the little toddlers and baby prom. So always looking at what else we can do and be active. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, next are the staff reports and presentations.
Great, Chris Escoto, Parks Deputy Director. Today, we're going to give you an overview of introduction of a new board member. We are going to be discussing a pop-up art show that's been in discussions within the last couple months, as well as a National Fitness Court update, and also finish off with a meeting time and date to make sure that this meeting time still works with everybody. So as a reminder regarding the new members, this is a 7-panel committee. we do have our sixth member who fortunately cannot be here today. New member is Andrea McRae. A little bit about her, she's passionate about music of various genres and mediums. She does seek to enhance Cal's public spaces and truly just the community assets throughout arts and the appropriate programming. She is a current board member of the League of Women Voters of Hayes County. And again, she was unable to attend today, but she did extend her apologies for missing. So regarding the pop-up art gallery, so this has been an item that was provided, we were going to be discussing at this last meeting in December, we would not meet quorum, so we're bringing this item back to you today to talk and just get a little bit more information. So staff has had the opportunity to engage with CAS as well as the library. I know there was a request of having the portable walls. So we did engage with the library that they are willing to provide us with the rolling walls. However, staff is requesting feedback on the event site layout and just truly just a little bit more information for us to be able to convey the needs to CAS. Originally, this was something that was identified for us to incorporate within the month of February. However, with us not having the opportunity to have the quorum in December, right now, we're up against a deadline that probably makes a little bit more sense for us to think about a different date. So I wanted to provide this update and just open it up for general feedback on how to proceed on this.
I don't mind pushing it also because it conflicts with this as well.
We originally said over 15th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so, yeah.
It might even be best to push it towards like the end of spring, just because we still need to give the community time to create their pieces. So, I mean, I know May is technically a busy month for like graduations and things like that. So I don't know if April might be a good month.
What about the end of April? What goes on at that point? Like
Easter.
Yeah. Easter is going to be. When is Easter 2025? Sunday, April 20th.
Originally about end of April, so ultimately, I mean, we can solidify a date that way we start communicating with CAS regarding they release their schedules each month in advance. So if we were to talk to them and say, this is the date that we're looking at, not to mention this pop-up gallery, there's a little bit more logistical questions that staff has as far as, is it okay for us to have this interactive with the programming? Can it coexist while these programs at CAS are occurring, or something that needs to get stored away in storage? So there's a little bit more logistics that need to come into play.
But I think that we can't figure out those logistics until we know what supplies we have available. So we need to know if we have to use only the walls, if we have rolling walls, because if the walls can roll, then yes, we can push them to the side. But if we have to like make do with the space that's solely on the walls, then that might be not the right space for us. Am I accurate in saying all of that? Okay, just like getting it all out there. But so we can't figure out if programming can go on until we know what we have available to us. I know I'm trying to make it a chicken and an egg, just more that like,
Yeah, I mean, sizing of the wall kind of determines also how many submissions we can accept. And, you know, therefore, if all those submissions are able to fit on these portable walls, then yeah, we can move them to the side and other programs can still use the space. But we were looking to only have it for 2 weekends in a row. So I don't know if it's something again that, how long do we want to have it for, you know?
Yeah, or is it something that can get, showcased during the day and then picked up at night and then you just set up every weekend? Or if it's something that needs to sit there again all weekend? I can tell you that the library did confirm that there are 9 panels that we have on those wheels. The width, the height is.
size roughly, aren't they?
They, I think so.
Not height, not height,
so
but
it's
width.
72 inches in height and 210 inches in width.
Oh, they're long.
Yeah, they're.
Okay, they're rectangle, these kind.
So originally we were thinking in February, right? Is what we were-
Do they roll?
They do, they are.
Okay, all right, sorry, I was just thinking like,
Yeah. And are they double sided? Can we put something on both sides of the panels?
Based on what I'm seeing, yes, yeah, you can, so you will be able to. At that point, it's gonna be the load, the weight of the piece itself and.
yeah, these are not gonna be
I think they're
Heavy,
heavy canvases,
yeah.
right?
or paper, whatever, yeah, or multimedia kind of
Okay.
things, not steel.
So this is what they use when they put their quotes on.
I'm not sure about that, which library would have stuck around.
Could ask.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure if that's something that incorporates that, but
Based on
we can figure that out and provide context, but it does seem to be if that is what you're planning on putting, just canvases, maybe some.
Well, we were mentioning that if there was mixed media or small sculptures or whatnot, we could put them on tables, you know.
Yes, but those
Yeah.
tables could be picked up and moved
Yeah.
and things like
At that point, it'll be a matter of picking that up right at the end, because I don't know, we want to leave that somewhere throughout the week. So those are the questions that we have. So as far as, so what I'm hearing is if we were to set the stage regarding, we have these 9 panels that we can accommodate, which we have received confirmation that we can use those. Now it's a matter of deciding on a date, which seems to be
Right.
sometime end of April. Now, from that standpoint, from a layout, site, how much time you need as far as block, those are the details that we're trying to solidify as far as the programmatic elements when it comes of how many pieces. I think those are things that we still have a little bit more time to solidify. Right now, we're at a stage of trying to schedule a facility, and if this is an appropriate facility for that, which I know that's still in question, then that's the direction that we're trying to seek.
Well, if Easter falls on that 20th, there's so much always usually going on for Easter, so probably the following weekend would probably be the best.
that. So do we really need it for 2 full weekends?
Not
Just do it one
No,
weekend, that way
yeah.
we can pick it up, take it away. Are there generally classes held during the weekend? Or would it be something where we could just block off, Friday night, like Friday to set everything up, Friday night to have an opening, Saturday and Sunday it'd be open, take it down on Sunday evening?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that'll be something that we'll just need to communicate with Cass.
Okay.
So if
So I
it's.
think that would be
if-
ideal.
So if that is what we're requesting, so we're requesting set up Friday evening,
No, Friday during the day.
Day.
Have it ready to show Friday night.
okay,
Friday evening.
so it's a Friday to Sunday,
Yeah.
So that'd be the 25th to the 27th. We are in competition with 2 important things, though. One is Old Settlers Fest. I don't know if y'all do that. Well, 3. 2 would be Eeyore's birthday, also falls on that weekend for Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then most people don't do this, but the Madame Butterfly Opera is also open. Madam Butterfly.
I might go.
and when we're talking about setting up Friday day, what time do we want the event to start? Is it like a 6 PM, 5, 4? We need to be there 2-3 hours beforehand, what are we envisioning?
I would say event starts at 7 for Friday night.
So like the
Okay,
opening.
Opening, yeah.
Mhm. You said we'd have like a earlier showing on Saturday for families.
We do the family day on Saturday, and then Sunday is just people who want to drop in.
And it's
Fine.
time for Saturday, Sunday, are we thinking 8 AM to 5 PM? Is
No one's
it-
there anymore.
More people are there.
10 to 6, yeah, 10 to 5, yeah, 10 to 5. I was like,
Both days?
Yeah.
6. So 10, just to confirm, 10 will be the start of the event, not necessarily when you need to mobilize or try to establish and get prepared for the day, or?
Right, because if we start at
probably
10,
need
we
an
have
hour,
to get.
an hour in the
yeah.
morning to set up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 9 to 10 for setup, 10 o'clock to 4 for the event, 4 to 5 to shut down.
I think that's good.
Mhm.
Seem reasonable, Rose. Or do you think we should do like an evening thing for Saturday?
Set up.
Just one evening for Friday and
For
then
the launch.
Saturday day, okay.
And then Sunday, what did you say, 10?
10 to 4 again? Or do you think we should just do like
Just shorter. I was shorter. I was
10
shorter.
to 4.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
10 to 2?
2, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in,
and then we'll have that time to
clean up.
Yeah.
There's some good church crowd coming. Mhm.
Thank you so much. And as far as setup on Friday.
We just have the whole day Friday, because we don't know what we're looking at.
Yeah.
We don't know how many people are gonna be there to volunteer to set up. We don't know how much art we're gonna have to set up, like, so it would just be nice to have the whole day just in case there's two of us.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll ask on that request if there is, some senior programming in the morning, will like a noon timeframe be okay?
I think so, if it's gonna start.
Just to give us a little bit of a range.
However, if anything goes wrong, we shall blame you.
We'll try to get it earlier. We'll ask. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can, if anything, like maybe start and at least
That
get in
seems
there,
like
maybe like the
plenty of
We're
kitchen.
not starting till 7.
Yeah,
That's
I think
plenty
it
of
should be
time.
plenty of time.
6 hours. That wouldn't be that long.
You're the one who set up more of these than most people, so.
Awesome. Well, thank you for clarification on that item.
Oh. I guess with the layout, maybe in the next meeting, just, since until then, maybe y'all can Google search.
We have
Some
provided
other
some
food?
layouts that we did last time. Here's one.
Okay.
Here's one. Here's the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how those panels.
Panels go together.
If they walk together or individual or not, you know.
Do they bend in the middle?
I'll get that information.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring this
Do
up.
like a video.
Do we have a subcommittee for this or whatever?
No,
I feel like we might. Should we need one? Cause okay, you just wanna plan everything
Let's just
during.
do it, yeah.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll get the information regarding the panels, whether they're flexible, how flexible they are. But for the time being, what staff will do is coordinate with CAS, identify if this is even a viable option, and then bring this back for February for us to be able to solidify the plan and then start finalizing details so we can start calling for art. With it.
Yeah, great.
And so moving to the National Fitness Court, for those that do not know about this project, the city did, I guess, purchase this a while ago, probably 2-3 years ago, and it's been sitting in storage. This originally was identified to be incorporated within the Vibe Trail, which still will be incorporated within the Vibe Trail because Lake Kyle does provide connection to the Vibe Trail. However, we figured this site is more appropriate. So this is the Lake Kyle facility, Lake Kyle Park, where we are looking to incorporate a large mural, which you'll see in the next slide. But before I get there, I do want to touch a little bit about the art itself. The artist did happen to be a staff member that's in-house that does illustrate a little bit of the Kyle history, which you'll get to see here in a little bit, but it does highlight the various lifestyle within our parks, the city landmarks. It is going to be highly visible. So what you're looking at right there, it's hard for me to point, but if you see that sidewalk right on the right side of that square, that's going to be a sidewalk. So just facing the road is going to be the art piece. So the art piece will be facing the road, that it'll be highly visible for individuals to be able to see that. We did receive park board input approval on behalf of city council as well, where we are currently working with a contractor on the design of the foundation. We do envision having this completed by end of this quarter of Q1, sometime March, end of March, early April is when we're looking to have a ribbon cutting event, which we will invite you guys all to attend once we get there. And the next slide is going to show you guys a visual of what that sculpture or that wrap's going to look like within the fitness equipment. Next slide.
So if you're looking
So
at.
wait, the wrap's already designed, or we're looking for artists to do that?
This is the design. So this is a
So yours is
design.
already done,
It's
okay.
already done. So this is a vinyl wrap that's going to be put on this wall for this fitness wall.
Okay.
So if you're like, looking where the current building is out there from the road, which,
You'll be
to
able to
the
see.
right, but is it to the right of that? Or is it to that?
The orientation is going to be, so if you're sitting in the parking lot, you'll be able to see the sculpture or the.
right.
To the right of the building?
The mural. To the right of the Western building.
Okay.
And as I mentioned earlier on in the overview, so we are requesting feedback on just the current meeting time and date, making sure that this still works for everyone. I know we've had instances where we haven't met a quorum. But I wanted to make sure that if this isn't, if this is something that we want to modify, we're opening it up for you all to have a discussion.
Were they earlier? Did I make that up?
Used to be later.
Later.
Yeah.
This is earlier, okay.
How do you feel about
And if
that?
we're comfortable with sticking to what we have now, then that's perfectly fine. We just wanted to provide this as an opportunity in case staff needs to look at some options.
I'm good. I'm only good until 7 though on Wednesdays, so. But the only one I won't be able to make is March, because that's spring break, so,
We've usually been out of here now.
yeah, so it's not a big deal.
Now it's parks, we're gonna give you guys a lot of fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Parks is more fun.
Hard stop at 7.
Yeah, so it works. And that is the end of that presentation.
Does it only, I noticed that, here listed, there was the tiny art galleries, but then on the agenda, they weren't written. Is there any like update on those?
Any art gallery.
Our little boxes.
Little babies.
They said
It's been,
They were supposed to be finished and delivered by now, but they have not been, so Ashley and I will check.
okay.
And last time, didn't we discuss some people on the board going around and looking for locations of it?
Yeah.
So probably should do that, just so we have that to give right away. Expedite it.
I mean, are we giving just generals for that, or do we give specifics? I'm sorry, I can't remember from 2 months ago what we're supposed to do.
Like for the location.
I think y'all had given some general, locations because, staff will have to coordinate just to make sure there's not any, utility lines or anything like that, like right where it want to be put.
Imagine, we're in the city because with our.
Yeah, so I think y'all had given some general locations, where y'all would like to see them, and then we were gonna.
And the
just
city,
gonna nail down, like, the
Yeah.
if
exact.
you say like downtown, then you guys pick where in this, where down there it goes.
I think we have specific, we were like specific, not like super specific, we were like this part, or like the library and the butterfly garden.
Yeah.
So we were
Lake
specific.
Kyle is one.
Lake Kyle was one, La Verde.
La Verde.
La Verde, and then I think here downtown.
Yes.
So we were specific, they
How
just
many
have to
are there?
make sure.
3 to start.
Yeah,
It would be nice if we got this underway. I'm not sure if you read the Austin Chronicle, but there's like a huge promotion of this in Austin right now. And if we had been on the ball last year and gotten this done, we would have like beat Austin to this. That would have been like a nice thing to have under our belts. So it'd be cool to get them done and get them going, since there was like, there's already been like a huge push in other cities to do this.
Are there already artists that have submitted to be in these tiny galleries?
No, because we were waiting for all the final dimensions and pictures and stuff.
We wanted to see what they
Look like before we,
We
yeah.
want to be able to
Is it
put a picture of
possible
them out
to,
there before we ask people.
whoever's building them, is it possible to get pictures so we can put that out there already to artists?
And the dimensions.
yeah, I mean, if we have them done, we have the dimensions. So we could,
It was nice to show a picture of what they actually look
Yeah,
like
and-
rather than a drawing.
And how are we promoting that? Through community artists?
Local Kyle artists just to start.
Yeah.
Part of my ignorance on the tiny art gallery, because we weren't involved in this, but can you give us just a quick
Think
understanding?
a little library, but pieces of art that rotate in a gallery format every 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Did that help? Because that can be more specific.
I have some renderings I can send you,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's pretty much like the little free library kind of boxes.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we could bring this item back. If
On
I
the
know,
February.
on the February meeting, just to give you guys an update.
but it's
Yeah,
not
that'd be
free,
great.
people can't take the art.
Yeah, no, it's not free.
There's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. It's a showcase, think
There's-
gallery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
visibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how often are we supposed to be rotating art?
3 to 4 months.
Every 3 to 4 months they'll rotate, and unless we get like a lot of people
Yeah.
interested, in which case then we'll expand.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Mhm.
Now we can receive a report, hold discussion, and provide staff direction regarding the art and places.
Yeah, so today we're gonna be talking about the RFP. Chris Escoto, Parks Deputy Director. Today we're gonna be talking about the general scope, give you the locations that were identified within the RFP, talk about the RFP process. We did have the opportunity to meet with the task force where they provided a recommendation. We're gonna review the artist proposals and have some concept direction and identify next steps.
Okay.
So the call for Artoscope, if you all recall within the requirements, we were asking for unique, one of a kind, large scale piece of artwork such as a sculpture or monument. We did specify that we wanted it to be contemporary in style and also visually striking. We did also identify any moving parts will be, a benefit if we were to be able to incorporate them, such as wind or solar powered. I can tell you that some of those submissions I believe did incorporate that, but we'll cover what that's gonna be here. Next slide, please. So the potential locations that we've identified, we didn't necessarily say these are the locations where they're gonna go, just generalizing city parks, library, the vibe itself within the trail system, the 104 South Burleson property, public safety center, roundabouts, bridges, et cetera. So there's a number of locations that have been identified. Once we decide direction of the piece, or I guess the artist, we are gonna have to solidify where this is gonna sit as his final resting place. So that's gonna come in the future, or not necessarily resting place, but
Like,
feature.
that was ominous.
Yeah.
Slide. So just a little bit of the RFP process. There was criteria that's intact, where there's broken down to concept, price, experience, proposal, all being 100 points total. There was a total of 5 artists that submitted. There was a task force that was recommended at I think it was the November meeting, because December did not occur. And that is encompassed of the following board members you see on screen. The recommendation of the task force was to select the top 2 artists that we were going to feature here in the next slides. Oh, sorry, before we get there, the feedback for the task force, do want to highlight that the scores were super competitive. Overall, we did receive positive feedback. There were high praise based on the past projects for the top 2 artists that were selected. However, knowing that we still need to solidify a little bit about the concept itself, we do think that we need to get some modifications to the designs and fine tune what they may look like. But we are comfortable, or I should say the task force was comfortable to proceed based on the work and general pricing per the RFP procedures. With it being a request for proposals, price does account for this, so that is a big significant component with this based on the criteria. So I do want to highlight that. We did provide a recommendation from the task force to move forward with the following artists, which is Jessica Bell and Dana Perotti, which we're going to be highlighting their art pieces. So Jessica Bell, this was a sample submission that is abstract wing sculpture. Overall, the symbolization is influence regarding the development taking place within the city of Kyle. The material type is powder coated steel with commercial acrylic, where it's positioned like a wing format, casting this vibrant colors on the ground below. And overall, the sculpture represents movement, growth, and unity, where the height of the sculpture itself is roughly about 10 feet. Overall, this will be mounted on a concrete pad to ensure stability and safety. So this is the example that was provided. Again, want to reiterate that the task force did think that some of the past work that was provided did kind of, I know this looks a little odd here, maybe like it could be a little bit more, but the past projects that were submitted did provide some experience that if we were to fine tune the scope and talk to them a little bit more about what it is that the vision of the committee is, then we could probably get to a final product.
So back on that one though, we had talked about asking them to do something different, I thought, didn't we? this wasn't what we wanted them. Wasn't it?
Just like more conversations with,
Yeah,
because
because they had submitted other stuff
yeah, they have
that
other,
we liked better.
yeah, it's within the same material, but just more like concrete vision, that I feel like the community would
So
be more
it-
receptive
I
to.
just wanted to say that it's not this.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, the next slide, please. Dana Perotti, so sample submissions on their end. These are some ceramic relief tiles that were incorporated at a pocket park in Austin. And there is the X's and hearts sculpture that was also identified and potentially proposed actually within La Verde Park. So this was the submissions that was provided on behalf of Mrs. Perotti. Next. And overall, the concept enhancements, as I mentioned, staff is seeking feedback if applicable to modify and enhance the artist concept regarding color, shape, scale, material, understanding that we do want to engage with the top two artists, but identifying what is it that we truly want to depict within the sculpture. And then once we identify those steps, we will re-engage with the artists, receive an updated concept proposal where we're going to re-engage the task force to make sure that this is what it is that we're looking for. If we come to an agreement, pending that recommendation, we'll be bringing this item back for final approval, which it will then be going to city council for consideration and approval of executing those contracts to begin the construction and building of those sculpture pieces. And with that, I'll open up for any questions.
Thorough, like they could both.
Or as far as those two artists.
We're only picking one. No, we can have two. Okay,
Okay,
I think that was the question.
yeah, yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and I know we do have members of the task force, so feel free if I did not cover anything from y'all's discussion regarding some of the decisions, then I know Dan usually provides that opportunity for task force to bring that up, if you feel comfortable speaking about that.
Yeah, I think we just discussed that their proposals weren't too far in depth, and so we were a little concerned about what happens, once the council approves it, who kind of oversees also speaking with the artists, getting through their concepts. We were a little worried on the first one, if it was too abstracted, or if people were gonna mistake it for just some solar panels or whatnot.
Yeah, me too.
We
It was like, the
yeah, we
lights,
really-
they're just like lights.
Yeah, we really liked the, that it represented wings, but maybe
Yeah.
it was overly abstracted, and so we wanted to see if the artist can push the concept a little bit further, maybe provide some additional, designs,
Yeah.
so.
It's a neat idea there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't she the one that had the?
there was like a steel, like a heart
Yeah.
shape, so like,
A couple other things of what she's done before,
okay.
and so. More interest, personally, I was more interested in those things than that, because I didn't know what it looked like cootie legs to me.
Well, we all have different interpretations of her, right?
Right.
So that's good.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that it seemed like they would be very thin and very tall.
Yeah.
But, yes,
Because of the
great.
solar part that was in the, with in the description of what people wanted, maybe that's what put them down that.
Yeah, it was, I don't know if we looked into the RFP much. The solar part, is it to provide lighting to the sculpture piece itself, or just to get?
Like kinetic, so that we don't have a motor problem? Like,
I think it was like
over in
a,
the cul-de-sac?
because when
Or
we
no, the
had talked
roundabout?
about it, it was like a maintenance thing and a stability thing, so it was both.
It was just if the piece required certain things.
Then
That
Like
would
the
be,
spinning sign
instead of
that
using
doesn't spin,
electricity to
yeah.
do whatever, it would
I
be
think that's
done,
what,
so.
we're just gonna call the elephant in the room on that one.
But I know the artist on that one spoke too about people interacting and walking underneath it,
Right.
10 feet
Yeah.
tall is really.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right.
The
So-
changing of the movement of the
Right.
glass.
Yeah, and just picking a location that would work well versus the other artist kind of specified to do that playful X heart one on La Verde Park, which we thought was great because it's playful there. They hold concerts there. They have the water fountains that kids constantly run through there. So
I don't think the the baseline concept of the first one, because I'm like, it could be our bean, right? Cause like the bean's just bean in Chicago, but people love taking a photo on it. Sorry. I'm an Amish Kapoor hater, so yeah, yeah, so, but I feel like I like the idea of people, like, I would take a selfie under it. If it had the colors, you know what I mean, but it is very abstract, so I do like the idea of making it a little less abstract.
Yeah.
So people kind of know what it is.
Yeah.
Can we just build a sculpture park and put that one in there?
That was the only concern. I didn't want people saying, oh, you spent all this money and I don't even know what
What
it
it
is.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, yeah.
To tell me what it is.
I think for our first piece, it should be something that everyone in the community can really connect to and feel.
And on the second artist, I think we had feedback too on the X's and hearts. We were a little concerned about the material choice and the darkness of the sculpture piece. Tying into that area, we just were wondering if that artist had other suggestions for other materials or colors.
Yeah.
And what that would look like, you know, if there's any variations in there.
Right.
Did she make the tiles, like the actual shapes in the tiles? Cause I'm like, it would be cool to have those have like flora and fauna from Kyle,
That would be really nice.
if it's gonna go in the park.
Yeah, because right now it just looks like stone, and
Mhm.
she wanted it to evoke a playfulness, but we weren't able to see that from the first look of it. It looks very rough and eroded. So to just have something, if it's gonna be, you know, pricier, have it look new, colorful and reflect that like playfulness, like the X's and the O's, like kids game, like have it more vivid so people can see it from afar, that doesn't blend so much into the landscape.
The giant pie.
Well, that's the other thing, like, if you have any other things where you could think, you know, based on the mediums that they use, was there anything else that any of you thought would be a nice sculpture to make out of, you know, whatever the materials they use, so. And again, for the tiles, also, I was, all the vibe trails and, you know, certain places are gonna have this marker, whatever. So, you know, you could use the tiles also, maybe not just in one place, but throughout other places to give a common theme to, okay, this is this.
On the vibe.
And they're all on, you know, these are all made out of these tiles and have little meanings to them, and then you take it over here and you can do it here instead of just doing one big wall.
Well,
But-
that would be so cool, cause I am a trail. And I do read. I do read the
It's
trail
something
sign.
to associate them all.
Yeah. Like identify like a wall within like the trailhead.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is like.
But you're on the
The
trail,
trail,
like maybe
like,
there's like a
on the
bench
trail,
there and it's
no,
like
there's a
covered in
marker on
it.
each, you know, each
Water
of the
fountain,
the, isn't each of the vibes areas or whatever supposed to have like
Marker.
a marker and a meaning, like this is the, this of this on the trail and over here is this.
This is the that of that, and these are the.
Yeah, I can't think of the
Yeah, no, I know what you're
specifics.
saying,
because
yeah.
I can't-
Using art as a wayfinder can be.
A wayfinder, yeah,
Yeah.
like that, so, you know, if there's a common theme between them, they look different, but they have a
No, yeah, that makes sense.
something.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm really big into community art right now, so to me, I'm like, let's get a bunch of artists together and create those tiles like as a community to put up, but that is not in the spirit of the RFP.
So anyway, and we were told that we could go for two, so we thought, well,
Yeah.
there's no reason not to go for two.
So then the next steps are you guys, y'all have,
Taking this feedback, right?
you get feedback from them on like modifications?
I think the next step would be to bring it to council, right?
The next step where we're at right now is if we're comfortable with the signs, then we can go ahead and solidify the concept where they're providing us their final proposal and then identify a contract essentially, which then that will get taken to council. But if it's something that we are still wanting to work with the artists on modification, hey, maybe some redesign, then it'll be a process that then we'll get the feedback, we'll re-engage with the artists and say, hey, here's the parameters that the committee provided. Can you provide an updated render that illustrates and highlights these these key points. From that, then that's when we're gonna go ahead and create, once that gets deliberated, we're gonna go ahead and create another meeting with the task force and submit and provide those proposals for next steps recommendation. And then that will be brought back to you all for consideration, final approval, and then it'll go to council. So there's two avenues that we can go. One, and really it depends on, once we feel comfortable with that final render of the sculpture itself for us to be able to solidify a contract with the artist.
I mean, it sounds like y'all are still giving them feedback, right?
That's what it sounded like
Yeah,
to me.
so,
Yeah, so as outside of the task force, the recommendation was to engage these top two artists. But as a committee, we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to provide that feedback on what that piece could be for us to be able to take
Yeah.
and communicate
Now I
that to the
understand.
favor of
artists.
the heart.
I think that
Feedback.
first one is
Artist feedback.
right, so less abstract. That's
Mhm.
better.
Make it look more like wings.
Like if they're wings.
Make it
But I
more-
thought there was another piece you said that you
There
liked
were
better.
a couple other pieces, remember, that we actually,
Yeah,
I
those
thought
were,
we liked them better.
those were
Right.
submitted, Dan, if I'm not mistaken, those two other options were just examples of past work.
Passwords,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, correct.
So they wouldn't be.
But if you want to say, hey, we like your password a little bit better, how do you?
Well, that's how I
incorporate
kind
that
of took
within
it.
this?
I did.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys remember differently, but I thought we liked those other things that
Yeah, I know
person
we're
made
leaning
better.
more towards the more organic shaped one, rather than the more straight line
Mhm.
abstract, but, yeah, I think we also wanted to see, like, can you push the wing concept a little further? What would it look like? We like your previous piece too, so I don't know. We could ask them to do both, but.
Okay, so for the first artist, less abstract, more, I guess,
Girth.
Well, that's what I meant. If you would see the other one, I think
Yeah,
you
more
would.
free flowing,
It
the other
was,
one.
it
Yeah.
was like on a,
Less straight lines.
yeah, it was on a, it was mounted on cement or whatever, and then it was a acrylic and it was a swirl. And I don't know what color it was.
With blue.
It was bright blue. It was
With a lot more
blue.
movement to it.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, if I remember correctly, it was not a heart.
It was a heart shaped, like,
Yeah,
like.
it was like a little,
But it was kind of like,
Mhm.
it looked like a figure eight in a way, from the way you looked at it. But, again, if anybody can think of, okay, if I like that, what would you like to see that represent is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm imagining though, this artist probably to do something that large, 10 feet, the span of it. If you're doing more free flowing, it might be more difficult to create versus something that's straight lined. So I don't know if that also depends on the concept. That would be a question for the
Right, like
artist.
price,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. People are gonna be interacting with this sculpture that's only 5 feet, 10 feet tall? Like, are we putting up something that's like, don't touch the sculpture? Are we expecting people to walk under the sculpture or?
That was a walk, yeah, I'm pretty
it
sure.
really all depends on the placement as well. So if you're putting this in a roundabout, maybe a little bit.
Do you
more
know what it's
difficult.
made of? Cause like, if it's made of
It's
steel and you're having
printed up
people
there.
walk
Yeah,
into
we
it
will.
on accident, is that an issue?
So,
One more.
one more. Powder coated steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And commercial acrylic.
You don't want people climbing on it either, see.
That was my first thing, is I went like this. My kids would totally be right up on top of that.
Yeah.
And I was a little concerned that they're only 1 foot across. It feels like while it looks, while it's tall, I almost wonder if it's not.
It's not wide enough, yeah.
So maybe look at the
Because we're looking
space.
only like 3, 4, 5 feet, 5 feet wide. I mean, with a foot in between each or 5 feet. Yeah, okay, that's.
So people can really walk through. Great, okay.
It's like keep the interactive portion that the artist wants, but make it more. Readable.
How about interactive?
I
What
don't know. I don't know that this one's really settling with me yet.
And from the color scheme, right now we have two color, two-tone. Are we looking for, I know, based on what I was hearing from the task force was that we wanted to focus in more, we were attracted more by the multicolored kind of concepts in the other pieces. Is that something we're looking for here, or is it more subjective for the artist to interpret their art in that manner, or?
does the City of Kyle have a brand guide? Are that blue and green the only colors? There's some colors, right? I think that
The
could be
blue is
helpful.
one of the primary, the green is the.
I
Okay.
think I'm gonna have to go, I'm gonna have to say yes and with Rose on this one.
Mhm.
Meaning, yes, it's a nice piece, and I think that it might not resonate with the majority of Kyle for one of the first pieces that we're doing. I think that it's an interesting concept. I enjoy the angularity of it, but I'm not so sure that for one of the first pieces that we put out as an art commission, that this is, would be well received by the
Yeah.
larger public. I can just,
Cause they're not art, you're not an art person where you're looking
Right.
at all these interesting things, you're just looking at a little kid or whatever, you know.
so if I had to choose of the two, I would be casting my vote for the, X's and less than threes,
And the tiles.
or the hearts, or
Yeah.
the O's. It's an X
The
less
whole
than three
thing.
on the thing, and I thought, oh, that's very clever. Cause that's how I put a heart on.
Yeah, it could be something too, that we say, hey, based on these X, Y, Zs, we feel like we probably need to go back and provide a different representation of the symbolization that they highlight, you know, the growth influenced by the development taking place. Maybe that's something that,
Yeah.
Or maybe something more influenced by some of the former pieces that
Okay.
we felt may resonate. I didn't see them,
agree.
so I'm not sure, but I will defer to y'all.
I agree. One, I also have PR brain, so my concern is that people won't get it. There's already been opinions about city expenditures, and then they don't get it, and they're like, we spent how
Again,
much on
another-
what?
yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's worth giving Jessica the feedback to give her the opportunity to present an
Another
update,
piece,
another
yeah.
concept or an update to this concept with like as specific feedback as we can get. And if then we're like, it's still not clicking, then at least we've narrowed it down, we have an answer. But I also
Okay.
wouldn't feel right not giving her the opportunity to understand like what the disconnect is.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and then, so I think we got direction from Ms. Jessica. If we go to the next artist. This Dana.
So are they commissioning two of these, two pieces she would do? I say they
Yeah,
would
is
do
it the
it?
tiles and the sculpture, or is it
The
all like
tiles
a
is the
thing?
past piece, and then this is the proposed piece.
Oh,
Which
okay,
looks like a
the heart
virtual.
and the X's are the proposed
Okay.
piece. Okay, I would say brighten that up a bit.
Yeah,
Like
that's what
maybe
we
a bright yellow, you know,
Mhm.
or
Right.
yellow, orange and red, or something like that, or primary colors.
And it also does look flammable as well.
Yeah, but it looks like less like, less like.
It's a little more industrial, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from a scale standpoint too, I mean, we can add a pedestal, you know, a 3-4 foot pedestal
Mhm.
that's gonna sit. on high.
Yeah.
And at that point, it makes a little bit, people may still climb on
Yeah,
there,
stop a little
but
bit, yeah.
you can't really stop them, but at least someone climbing from the bottom to the
Would have a
top,
little
you're
bit.
gonna be a
Yeah.
little more.
I like this one. I agree that I want it, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, it's sustainability girly, but I wish it was a little less organic. Like just color wise, if that makes sense. Just a little less, but I do like it.
You're concerned with the cement or something, didn't you say?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something, well,
Because this was cast bronze and concrete,
what I was-
yeah.
and I felt it was dark and didn't fully align with the intended, like, feelings of amusement, and open-heartedness and kindness, so I wanted to see something a little bit more bright, you know, and color. But that may change the material, because.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we could find out what other materials she has that
Or
she
she
could do
works
something
with,
like
Maybe
that.
she could patina the bronze
Mm,
potentially to
that could be
give it
nice.
some nice color into like a beautiful blue
Sure,
blue
yeah.
hues like she
Yeah.
has in the Milagros. That would be nice as well, so.
I love how like our feedback for the first artist was like too whimsical, and this one's like more whimsy.
That's the beauty of art. Yeah, I think that's great feedback. So, as I highlighted, next steps are gonna be, Dan and I, probably Dan's gonna say, hey, here you go, Chris, here's a contact. We're gonna engage with, with the artist, and provide this information, set a meeting with them, and again, try to get this in time back for the February meeting. I'm hoping that it's a little bit of a fast turnaround on that. We're gonna convey that and seeing if that's something that we can accomplish.
But I'm hoping at least for that March date, 'cause with it being the first sculptures, first art pieces, we do want to make sure that this is a product that everyone here feels proud of, and also that the community is gonna enjoy. Granted, arts is subjective, so there's still gonna be people that are gonna be like, hey, we hate it.
But we
But
want to reduce that as much as possible.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Yes.
just wanna, I guess, set real expectations, knowing from the community that I came from in my prior city,
Yeah.
that we were a big public art, basically just putting all these things out. We had some great pieces that everyone was like, man, this is awesome, and the public did not feel the same way at times. So,
Yeah, I mean,
just-
Fair enough.
art is subjective, we can't make everyone happy, I think the important part is that we're being good stewards of the artist, and we're being good stewards of like city money and
Of course.
community vibe, so,
Absolutely.
It's the relatability.
yeah. It's hard to build consensus, guys.
That's why we need a sculpture park. So there's lots of different.
Next big RFP.
And just for us to have a little bit more context, is La Verde Park appropriate for them to kind of enhance within their design? Maybe if they have other influences or maybe ideas just from the generating from the park itself? Is that something that's still okay for the location, or are we still wanting to keep it very vague where these pieces can be placed really anywhere?
I thought that was a good suggestion by the artist, just because it is a fun, playful park. It's new, it's got all, the events going on there. Granted, like, I don't know, some people on certain areas of Kyle are gonna feel a little jealous because they didn't get something, but,
And then fitness
Yeah.
center.
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, for
That's-
balance, kind of keep that in mind as
Yeah,
we.
so that's, that's a good point. So, that was my thing was, okay, if that goes in La Verde, that's fine, but La Verde already looks cool. It's got a lot of cool
Right,
stuff.
so,
I mean,
yeah.
I was thinking, gosh, it'd be nice to put something somewhere else where there isn't
Mm.
anything going on,
Like the park down here,
Very cool.
Grant Park, yeah, thank you.
Not the square, you mean, just.
No, Grant Park, the
Yeah.
the pool.
Yeah, yeah, that is, they don't really have any art out there, do they?
We just got the splash park.
Okay, I'm gonna be annoying, and I do like it at La Verde Park, and the reason is it's the very first piece. There's all these events going on, and it's kind of like, we wanna unveil it where there's a lot of foot traffic, and I think it builds a lot of, what did I tell someone? I'm trying to create scarcity, so like, if, not intentionally, but like, if people see that and they're interested, and they're like, why didn't we, blah, 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 I'm like, follow the arts and culture thing on Facebook, like, we put out RFPs, like, if you want things for your community, you need to get involved in the community, so I'm a bit of a hard ass about it. Can I say that? This is recorded. I didn't say that.
I like the idea of the feeling there, like, when you do have an unveiling, I mean, there's things, it's a place to have an unveiling, yeah.
People are already there, and
Yeah.
it'd be a nice mark to be like, look, now we can put one in New York. And
Yeah,
Philly."
like, we want to put them in the areas that don't
So,
have art.
Yeah.
I would say too, Craig Park is gonna be going under some
Renovation.
renovation,
Yeah.
so we don't wanna get
Yeah.
messed up at,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, because
Put something.
There is a piece of art right there, there's a really gig, I don't know, he doesn't call it gig, I call it that.
Yeah.
Next to the Mexican restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because the first piece seems to be that it's more left, for really placing anywhere, where this one is very intentional. Because they, for Lake Howe, where they're able to even complement some of the rocks within the fountain. That's kind of how I see that, but that's always
Right.
being, so if it's a matter of them getting more inspiration, maybe from something else within the park, I at least want to highlight that to the
Yeah.
audience. So
Yeah.
sticking at La Verde Park, everyone feels comfortable leaving it there.
Okay, I'm so sorry, I do have to leave, it's.
Yeah,
7:00,
so,
so.
and then my question is for, I guess, all of y'all that are gonna communicate with artists, is there, depending on their timeline, can we have the unveiling coincide with some sort of event? Like a festival or something? Cause I think that could be great, ribbon cutting, unveiling, photo.
Yeah, I guess we just have to see production.
Right, production timeline, yeah.
And what's closest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for La Verde Park,
knowing that we have various programs throughout the year, maybe that's something that for sure we could try to
Mhm.
plug in there. Now we do need to identify a location for the other sculpture, if that's something that we're looking to do. As far as figuring out what type of events may be appropriate for that, that may be something a little bit more challenging depending on the location. But yeah, worth us at least exploring what those possibilities could be.
Yeah, well, I think depending on, what, is her name Jessica? I'm gonna use her. What she, the edits she makes, I think that'll make it easier to decide where it's gonna go, and then we can decide an event unveiling timeline from there. So it doesn't conflict with anything else, cause the worst thing is cannibalizing on your own event and like unveiling this one and then like being like, you have to drive across town to unveil the other one, so it gives us time to be really strategic about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then depending on those timelines, you know, they could each be, one could be shorter, the other could be
Yeah.
longer.
I just figured a lot of the pieces would tell you by looking at it where you think it might belong.
Yeah.
That's, you know, obviously she did this specifically for there, but
We
a
want
lot
that
of
to
things
guide
that
us.
was, yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, so guys, this is the task force.
Yeah.
So,
For closing. Is that something?
If it's an announcement, I think it's fine, but if it's to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, we can make a general announcement. I have to. Maybe it's an email to us saying, hey, can we check to make sure it's the ask that they're asking for on behalf of us, if it's something that we need to do so. But yeah, you can make the announcement.
just say that I received this.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so, I received an email, over Christmas from Kaz. John Connolly, so was asking about, us supporting the quilt again, as we talked about before. And they are starting the quilt, I think this week, and it'll be done, in time for February, and then they're gonna display it for Black History Month. They're gonna have 3 different locations. Anyway, it's 120 squares collected over the weeks, and then they make the quilt out of it. And then they want to know if we wanted to be part of the project and help with promoting, advertising, collecting, construction, displaying and endorsing, and, or, you know, where we could add this project to a flyer or sponsor, or have a square on the corner of the quilt, so. Letting you know I received that information.
And the dates of this is through the end of the month. Is that correct?
The end of February,
The
for Black History Month.
the collection.
The project kicks off January 7th and the collection ends January 28th. Not the squares. So they're having different locations where people can pick up and drop off the squares. And then they display them all in a. I understand. And they had came and presented to us before saying, you know,
Yeah. They were not pleased. Mm-hmm.
that we had missed supporting this, so. Yeah. But again, that was timing again, because we didn't have meetings. That's what happened, so.
We can't discuss, right? Can I ask a question? This question. Can we share this on the cultural board socials?
That's a question that we can ask now that staff's been notified that this has been a request, by sales be something that staff will need to look into.
Okay.
And see how we can respond, if that's something that we could take action on,
Right.
especially with the request being on logos and support. That's something that we didn't necessarily have an action item for this, so.
Right.
Can't really discuss it, but that could be something that staff would explore. However, due to the timing of it being collection, being at the end of this month,
Yeah, we have
our
2
next
weeks.
board meeting is
not until February, so. So it'll be something that we'll have to get you guys an answer on.
That's perfect, because we do want to support them. Question mark, that was a question. We would like to support them? Okay.
If we can, help provide some enhancement of the PR around this, would be nice.
Good feedback.
Sounds good.
Right, well, I think we're ready to adjourn.
Motion.
I move to adjourn.
Second. Okay. Yeah, we adjourn. Okay, at 7:07. Nice.
Especially.
I know.